All right, so Tom, this is a clip I want to play. This is Kirk Cameron launches an anti-socialism kids show. So here we go.
Just what we need.
For the last couple of years, I've been reading wholesome Christian children's books in public libraries, contra the drag queen story hours, and hearing from parents that they don't want woke indoctrination for their kids. They don't want gay dinosaurs and trans ducks teaching their children morality. They want kids' books and TV shows that are going to reinforce the stuff that parents are trying to teach their kids at home about the sanctity of life, about forgiveness, about family, about the dangers of socialism, and learning to embrace the identity God gave you. And so we want to bring to families what we're considering a modernized version of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
We have to talk about the Mr. Rogers comparison.
Sure.
You guys, if you're just listening, what he's got on screen is a fucking Sesame Street clone.
Yeah.
That's a different show.
Totally different show.
You're already wrong. That's a different fucking show. He's describing a cross between Reading Rainbow and fucking Sesame Street. He's got puppets and the whole thing. And then he's like, it's like Mr. Rogers. Bro, it's not like Mr. Rogers literally at all. Like we're talking about the content, which is like Mr. Rogers would fucking kill himself before being compared to Kirk Cameron. But also just like, you've got your comparisons wrong. You're reading books to kids with puppets. That's Reading Rainbow and Sesame Street, you stupid asshole. You stupid asshole.
Here's what makes me just crazy about this is these guys, their whole existence, never bothered to do this, never bothered to go to a books area to read to kids until someone they disapprove of did it. And then they said, no, absolutely not. You won't read to my children. I'm going to go do this now instead. They never could be bothered to do this before. This is not Kirk Cameron an entire life spent reading to children.
Right.
This is Kirk Cameron, reactionary Kirk Cameron, doing this because he's upset that the person who's reading it isn't exactly like him.
Yeah.
You are white and male and you're reading to my kids. And that makes me mad. That makes me upset that you're going to somehow, even though all you're doing is just reading them a book and look different than me, are going to somehow indoctrinate my children. They're just experiencing a different image of a human being than what you portray at home. And that is the attack on this entire Christian worldview.
That's because these guys see representation as exclusion.
Yeah.
They view representation as exclusionary rather than just another thing. Like, you know, I double checked this before the show. I called my local public library. And did you know you don't have to go to your library for any of these things? I don't know if people know this. It seems like the people on the right have no idea that you're not actually required. There's no like minimum number of hours that you have to attend public library events. Whoa.
I know I pay for it, but I didn't have to go there. I didn't have to go there.
The whole thing up.
Crazy.
Like also teaching kids about the dangers of socialism. Like nothing. I'll tell you what, I've raised 4 fucking kids and I will tell you, there is nothing kids love more than to have conversations about political economic theory.
Yeah.
That is just, I can't tell you how many times I've sat with Eamon, who's 10, and been like, buddy, we're going to talk about Marxism today.
Talk about Tocqueville.
Right. Yeah. I mean, get the fuck out of here. I mean, he's a budging libertarian.
Yeah.
I mean, well, no, he's not.
Yeah.
He watches fucking Minecraft videos. He's not like, oh, I think Minecraft Steve wants to, you know, share the means of production with the fucking gas. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. What the shit is any of this?
Well, and I think that this, again, points to the things that they want to demonize.
Yeah.
Immediately, he starts talking about socialism. Immediately, he starts talking about woke ideology. When what woke ideology really means is just being nice to people, right? Respecting people for who they are instead of what you want them to be. It's a real simple worldview, which just says treat people nicely, right? That's all woke ideology really boils down to. But people, what they want to do is they want to say, well, that's, you know, oh my gosh, you showed my kid a drag queen and therefore you're showing them what they would call a deviant lifestyle. You're showing them something that I don't want them to know exists. Well, I'm sorry, honey. there's going to be a time where your kid's going to be introduced to things that you didn't want to see them exist.
Yeah, like I want to recognize two things, which I think are sort of in, maybe they might seem like they're in conflict with one another, but I think they are nonetheless true. When you raise kids, you are to a large degree making a series of constant and hopefully conscious choices about what parts of the world you want to expose them to and when, right? So you don't expose a 4-year-old kid to pornography, right? Sure. But you do understand that a 17-year-old kid with a cell phone has certainly seen pornography. There are times and places where we as parents make decisions about when we expose certain elements of society, violence, sex, complex ideas to our kids, right? Because we don't want to, if you do it too early, that's actually really damaging. It's psychologically and emotionally problematic. And if you do it not at all, they are unprepared for the world. And so, like, it seems, I think, to some of the people on the right that what they're doing is building these fences around their world to protect their kids. But that's not true, because the operative word in what I just said was we're deciding when, not if, we expose kids to the truth of the world. Yeah. What they want to do is lie about what the world is. They want to build a fence and put their kids in it like it's the fucking Village by M. Night Shyamalan. And then, that's essentially lying about what is in the world. When you do that, you actually lose an enormous amount of credibility. You lose all of your credibility. It's like, it reminds me of like our last episode where we covered the North Korean troops who like were fighting in Ukraine, and like supposedly they got cell phones and were just like jerking off until they had just nubs in their hands because they had access to pornography. They'd been lied to about the world. The North Korea does an excellent job of lying to their people about what the world is. It doesn't change the truth of the world. What it does is it creates a lie. And as soon as people are exposed to reality, all of the lie stuff and the people who told those lies, they lose all their credibility. So these like right-wing parents they're deciding if rather than when. And that's a huge difference. I totally get that you might say you might have different views on when you want to expose your kids to certain elements of society. Those are real conversations we should have and bring experts into. But like, there's no if. There is no such thing as if. The world is out there. They're going to need to see the things that we find unpalatable. And I don't find Drag Queen Story Hour unpalatable, but I'm just saying we need to recognize that there's an entire world of unpalatable truths that we are not supposed to hide our kids from forever.
Yeah.
I'll give you like an example. I have it should be 14 in like an hour. So I have like a 14-year-old stepdaughter. And, she's at an age where we are beginning to have conversations about the world being a less safe place for her and about things that are unfair that she will have to do to stay safe as a girl in the world. And she'll probably end up taking like a self-defense class this year or next year. This year, almost certainly. Now, like, that would not have been an appropriate conversation for her at 6, right? That would have been an inappropriate conversation for her at 6. But it's a perfectly appropriate conversation for her at 13 or 14. Not having the conversation at all makes her less safe.
Sure.
It does not shield her from the harms that she may experience because she's living in a female body, right? I can't fix that. I can't change all of the world and make it safe for her. But like, I'm controlling the when rather than the if.
Sure. Yeah.